you. How are you?
Hi, fine. Now I hear you.
That's great. Maria, I want to give you the words, and also I want to warn you that I know that you have presentation and several videos, and if something goes wrong, please just tell us and we will put them on air. And now we are ready to listen and note all your advices, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So, hello everyone. My name is María José Román. I'm really happy to be here with you. I'm gonna start by sharing my screen. I hope it works. I'm activating my presentation. Just a sec. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me know, please, if you're seeing it. Okay, and now I'm gonna start my presentation. So I hope it's okay. So it's great to be here. We are here today. It's great together just to talk about stories and storytelling and how can you find a story to tell that will engage people, listeners, your friends, whatever. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. Guys, as I told you, I'm really excited to be here. At the moment, I am in Germany, in Cologne. This is the city where I live in. I'm going to tell you something about me. Then we are going to get started with our topic. We're going to talk about topics, stories, protagonists, and angles. Probably you are curious, why are angles here, but you will know why. And then we're going to talk about something that in storytelling is fundamental, and it's the journey of the hero. And I'm going to use that in order to talk about my own experience creating videos and finding my stories. I'm going to show you a few examples of things that I've done, and then we're going to talk about it. And I hope all of this will generate a lot of ideas in you. And at the end, of course, if you have questions, I hope I can answer them. Okay, so a little bit about me. Well, I started thinking, what do I have to say? Or in general, when you get to know someone for the first time, what is the first thing you say? For me, it had always been, hello, I'm María José. I come from Colombia. I do this and that, I study this and that, but then I started thinking about that. And today I brought some hashtags that I think define me. And the first one is about my identity. I don't feel myself anymore like necessarily the place where I was born defines me. I've been lucky to have a lot of experiences, and I say, right now I'm a migrant. I come from Latin America. This is the culture that maybe with which I identify. And also, I love planet Earth. So I think I am one more person in this planet. Just like you, I bet we have a lot in common. Then I wanted to talk about my beliefs. Well, I believe in girls' empowerment. I believe in human rights, and also in the power of media and education literacy. So it's great to be part of this, and I'm really excited that you're here. And then, of course, something about my profession, what I've been doing in the past years. Well, I'm a documentary filmmaker. I'm also active in media development. Probably you know what is this media development? All kind of efforts and projects that have as a goal making media better and making the public thinking about media, what it is. We have to be critic, especially in this time where we have access to so much information. And then lastly, I am also an entrepreneur. So I have a startup. I built a company with two friends of mine, two girls, and we do documentary films for internet. And I'm really excited about that. I think it's very important to have this other kind of perspective. You have the power to create something, and make it sustainable and create a life project around it, around your passion. So I hope this is also interesting for you to know about me. So this is me, María José Román, the person who's talking to you. Okay, now let's start. Storytelling. Storytelling is super important. Do you see this small icon? It's like the fireplace, because you know, human beings, we are social. We are social creatures. We like to be together. We need to be with friends. You have to tell what happened to you, what you saw, what are your experiences. And if we manage to do that in an entertaining way, then we are going to create relations much more rich with our partners and peers and friends, or even with people that we don't know yet. So storytelling is very important. And today we are going to talk about 4 very important parts of storytelling, which are topics, stories, protagonists, and angle. So let's see what's all this about. So, well, a topic. What is a topic? Check this out. I don't know if you know the symbol. This is the symbol of infinite, because a topic is a very broad subject. It can be something like, I don't know, the economy of Europe in the 20th century, or it could be a universal abstract human feeling like love, like pain, suffering, fear, you know, or it could be also a social issue. What's happening with human rights, what's happening with freedom of expression in some countries with different regimes, what are cultural differences, what is happening with the social media platforms and the algorithms, you know. So topics are very, very broad subjects, and they are very interesting, but also you can tell a million different stories about each single topic. So when you are thinking about telling a story and you want to talk to someone about this broad topic, it's difficult. I mean, you have to choose what exactly are you going to say? What story are you able to find? So keep this in mind. A topic, a very big idea, okay? Now, a story. What's a story? I put this icon because, of course, I am a filmmaker. So for me, stories sometimes are films or videos, but it could be so many different things. A story is maybe an anecdote you tell at the end of the day and you share where you're eating with your family. Or when you get to school and you're talking to your friends, you want to tell what happened on the weekend. And this conversation, this is a small story. Now, maybe you write that story. Maybe you write a book. Maybe you write an article. Maybe you write a post in social media. Maybe you create a gallery, a picture gallery with some information. Those are also stories. So a story has a million different packages, but it's something that has a beginning and an end. It's very specific. It's very particular. It's something that happened to someone most of the time, or to something, you know. I think objects also have stories, or animals, or plants, whatever. And I put also this icon because a story then is when you go to the particular. So you see the difference? The topic is something very big, and the story is going on the other direction. So, going back, an example which has to do with what's coming next of a topic is, for example, football culture in Germany. That's a broad topic. And the story in that same line is Laura Müller, so a specific person, and the football club of Herchen. Herchen is a small city in Germany, near from where I live. So keep these elements in mind. Now, protagonists and angle. So protagonists, of course, I bet you know this term. It's people. Of course, might be animals, for example. We all know Disney pictures, I don't know, The Lion King, or objects. I mean, but protagonists are the people, the characters that are living a story, and things are happening to them. They are reacting to the environment, and the way they react depends on many different things, where they live or what are the kind of challenges they are facing. So these are the protagonists. And protagonists are very important because they are precisely the protagonists of a story. It's very difficult to tell a story without thinking about the protagonist. So this is why it's an element that's very, very important for storytelling. Protagonists are interesting for us because through protagonists, we can get to see very many different perspectives, spaces, environments, countries, cultures, you know? So this is where the angle element comes in. The angle has to do with your point of view, your perspective. This is why I put this kind of visual elements. You are watching a broad topic, so you're watching something big, but at the same time, you're also trying to focusing on something particular, on a story, and you have to decide what is going to be the perspective of your story. So what is the angle? Where are you approaching a big topic? As I said here, you have to choose your angle. And sometimes it's very interesting doing the exercise of try to put yourself in the shoes of the protagonist and try to tell a story from the perspective of this other person. No? This is very interesting. For example, yesterday I was browsing Netflix and I came across a documentary about war, about soldiers. So this is the story of a soldier who comes back to his family after being deployed in the war, and he's traumatized. Now, the angle of the story is his son. So his 8-year-old son is talking to us about how he sees his father and how his father reacts to coming back home. You see? I hope this makes a little bit clear for you what an angle is. You can tell one single story from different angles. So, for example, there's a Japanese director, and he did a very famous story in which there was one fact happening. Someone dies, and he tells this same story of how someone dies, but from the perspective of different characters. And each time the story is a different one. So this is also something interesting to keep in mind when you want to find a story. Sometimes you can tell a story again, a story that someone already told, but you are able to find a new angle. Maybe your voice, your perspective is interesting and the world needs to hear it. So that's important. Now, why is storytelling, good storytelling, important? This is something very interesting. Well, as I was telling you at the beginning, we human beings are social beings and we communicate. And this is something very particular to human beings and is very special. So good storytelling enables you to engage listeners or viewers or readers, depending on how you are packaging your stories, or followers. You know, we are in social media at times, and of course we're in contact with other people, not only face to face, but mediated through very different platforms. And good storytelling is always engaging, no matter what. And that's good because with good storytelling, you can start a dialogue about many different things. It could be dialogue with your friends about some topic, but it also could be maybe in your community, there's an issue that's affecting the community. So you can offer a different point of view and create discussion around that so that people can empathize maybe with a different point of view. This is why storytelling is so important. In the same way, good storytelling can help you increase awareness about a topic, which is always important. And this could mean many different things. Maybe you are active, as I said, in school, in your family, in your community, but also maybe it could be that, as me, you started a project and you're doing something and you want people to know about what you're doing. Maybe you want to sell something. Maybe you want people to subscribe to your channel. I don't know. So this is why storytelling is always important. And as I said before, maybe start dialogue and debate and provide perspective, a different perspective, a critic perspective. Okay, so keep all these elements in mind. I hope it was interesting for you, and now you are acquainted with topic, stories, protagonists, and angles. Okay, so let's go to our next part, the hero's journey. Probably you have heard of it. This is like storytelling 101. It's a basic principle. It's a theory. I mean, you can read about it a lot, but the hero's journey is a structure for a good storytelling, because a story, as I told you, has a beginning, see, and an end, and a protagonist. And this protagonist is someone who is going to live an adventure. So he sets out on an adventure. There's a call to adventure. There's a task. Something must be done. Things cannot remain the same. Maybe it's a challenge. Maybe something that, okay, and the protagonist is the hero. Important part. So our hero, our protagonist, has to do something. He has to get out of the comfort zone, you know, of the known, and he has to do something. And in order to do something, he has to pass different tests. But also, along the way, the hero is going to find friends and allies, and he's going to learn something, or she is going to learn something. And after the long road, there's a return to the same place, although the story, the protagonist is changed. And this is why a story is compelling, okay? So keep this in mind, because my idea for this presentation is that I'm going to tell you about my experiences as filmmaker, looking for stories and protagonists with this structure of the hero's journey, because I want to invite you to tell your own stories, no matter what the output is, no matter if you do videos on social media or for a website, or maybe if you just write posts or whatever. It's always the same, and each project should be always an adventure for you and an opportunity to learn and to work with friends, okay? So let's start the journey. And the first part of the journey is going from a topic to find some protagonists, because this is a very usual scenario. So, for example, I worked for some years as a journalist. I had an editor, so there was someone telling me there's an important topic, actuality. You have to please find stories. Find a protagonist, because we have to write an article, because we have to do a video, okay? So it's a very common scenario that you're given a topic and you have to find a story. Or it could also be that you have an idea. Simply, you're one day at home and you just saw something and you thought, oh my God, it would be really cool to tell a story, make a film, make a video, make a post about this. How are you going to tell? What are you going to tell? This is the journey I'm going to tell you about. So, this is the journey. I had a topic. You see here my icon of the topic, and my call to adventure was this. Please make 4 short videos about the German football culture for an exhibition for young people. Okay, so this was the task. 4 short films, 2 minutes maximum, about football in Germany. And as you know now, I am from Colombia. I've been living in Germany for the past now like almost 10 years. But at the time, I was feeling not at all an expert about German football culture. Not for the German part, not for the football part. However, I set on the task. I began my journey. So one of the most important elements is to find a mentor, go to look for an expert, someone who can give you information and who can guide you. So in this case, for me, it was a football museum in Dortmund, in Germany. There's a very big museum specialized in football. Probably you know, as in many other countries in the world, football is a very important sport in Germany. And for me, it was interesting because it's something that has so many different topics, perspectives, angles. There's not only sports happening in football, there's a lot of social issues going on there, which are very interesting, very relevant socially. And so I thought, okay, if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to do this well, I need some guide, some perspective. Where to start? I need clues. So I got a contract with this football museum, and they effectively gave me some ideas. They gave me 4 topics. So they told me, these are 4 important things: integration in football fans, also women in football, and something which is very, very typical to Germany, sport associations, small sports clubs in small towns. It was very interesting. Then what I did was find my allies, get my team, of people, of friends. We're going to videos, and also we started together looking for protagonists. We had already 4 clues. Okay, we need this, this, and that. Now we had to look for the people who had interesting stories to tell. And once we met these people, we just had to decide how were we going to tell the story. So finding an angle, okay? And then, well, of course, there were many tests, many difficulties, as each project has, and at the end, this is part of the hero's journey. There's the road back, this part when you are going your way, doing the path, walking your steps until you get to the desired result, and you go back, which is delivering the videos, keeping everybody happy, posting social media, organize a premiere for the participants. Okay, so this was my story. Exactly, here it is. So this was I got this call to adventure. Please do these 4 videos about football German culture. I needed to find helper, mentors, allies, many difficulties, but then at the end, we did it. In the case of the small town association, we found family Müller, and it was great because the whole time in the process, we had been talking about something very abstract, like the guy at the museum told me, you have to understand first that these small town associations are very important for the communities. It's an element that brings people together in these small towns. Okay, so I thought, okay, good, I need to find a small town. So I started asking friends and people I know if where they live, they know about a small association. And finally, someone told me, yes, here where I live, I've seen that people play football. So we went once Sunday, we watch a match, we talk to people, we start telling, we're doing this video, blah, blah, blah. And then we got in touch with these people until we find precisely the Familie Müller. You're going to meet them because I want to show you the video. So let's see if it works. I hope it works, okay? So I hope you like it. The video is 2 minutes long. It's in German, but it has English subtitles. And afterwards, we talk about some of the details of what we see in the video. Okay, so let's go.
und kümmert sich so mit seinem Team noch um die Gartenpflege, also Rasenpflege, alles drumherum um den Sportplatz.
Also die ganze Arbeit macht man halt aus Liebe zum Fußball und aus Liebe zum Verein. Man kann das keinen ausstehen, der nie Fußball gespielt hat. Aber wenn man selber mal Fußball gespielt hat und weiß, die Möglichkeit, die man vor allem hier am Lande hat, geht es halt nur über die Eigenleistung, Eigenarrangement, anders geht es nicht. Das ist das A und O.
Ich bin halt in der Damenmannschaft und organisiere auch ein bisschen was mit ein paar anderen noch in der Mannschaft. Ja, und mein Freund, der ist halt Jugendvorstand und spielt bei der ersten mit.
Ja, ich habe die Laura letztlich auch am Sportplatz kennengelernt, so verrückt sich anhört. Für mich ist der TuS Herrschen eine echte Herzensangelegenheit. Selber in der Jugend gespielt, hier schon immer und jetzt im Seniorenbereich auch aktiver Spieler. Hat einen großen Standpunkt in meinem Leben, der TuS Herrschen. Ja.
Auf dem Land das dörfliche Leben ohne Vereine ist einfach unvorstellbar. Unser Dorf hat 1100 Einwohner. Ungefähr die Hälfte davon, ca. 500, sind in dem TuS Herrschen als Vereinsmitglieder und ca. 250 spielen davon Fußball.
Wenn ich ganz ehrlich bin, wenn es das hier nicht geben würde, ich glaube, dann gäbe es hier wirklich auch viele Freundschaften nicht, viele Beziehungen auch nicht, so blöd es wirklich auch klingt, aber ja, es ist doch schon so ein zentraler Punkt, das bedeutet schon echt sehr, sehr viel.
Okay, so that was the video. I'm not sure if it was okay. I had kind of technical problems. I heard the audio well, but I had to start the pictures. I don't know. I hope you saw it anyway. It's very simple. The story is of this family Müller. So she is Laura Müller. She is the protagonist. Okay. So this is the girl we found. I mean, we found the family, and the family is, you know, father, mother, 2 sisters, and 1 brother. And they all participate in this small football association called, as you see here in the scarf, TuS Herrchen. Okay, as you see, it was grounded in 1922. It's a very traditional institution in this small community, and everyone participates there. And this family is like exemplar, you know, like the father, he's active, he's the cashier of the whole association, and he's in charge of taking care of the field. You see in the video how he prepares the field, maybe exactly here. So he is very engaged. The mother, she didn't want to participate so much in the video. That's why she's not a strong character there. But she takes care of the jerseys, of the teams, making sure that everything is clean and organized at the day of the matches. And this is precisely an image that the guy in the Football Museum Dortmund told me that I should get. And I was so excited when I finally found a family that was doing exactly that. It was really great. Okay, so this is a very nice perspective of this small town. When we were talking to people, they told us, have you been here up in this hill? There's a very good perspective there from the football match. So even that visually for us was very interesting to find. And these are all elements that you find when you are working on an idea. When you're talking to people, when you are telling what you need, what you're looking for. So keep this in mind. This is a very important element. Okay, and so we had this family, but yet, I mean, we had our protagonists. When we found family Müller, I was sure these are our protagonists. So first box checked, but now we had to find the story. What's the story, you know, and what's going to be our angle? So we decided we are going to focus in Laura. She's going to be our carrier. we are going to see her world through her eyes. You know, this is the angle. This is why we start with her. She's the first thing you see in the video. And then she talks about her family. She says what happens, what does her sister do, her brother do, what his father do, you know, her mom. So Laura is the center of the story. And what we are telling about is how is her life there. And we do this when we show one day of football match. Okay? So what happened first? The mother is taking care of the jerseys in one particular day. The father is taking care and preparing the field for the match. We get to know her boyfriend in the match. Laura's boyfriend, he plays in the men's team, and he tells us how he obviously met Laura in the soccer field. And they are all talking about how they started playing football as kids. So we had a lot of images about the community, young people, but also old people. And this was very interesting also to find, because we were talking to this our protagonist, and they told us, yes, our football club has so much tradition. It would be a good idea that you talk to this guy. And it was really interesting how he told us that really in a small town where 1,000 people live, the half of it, they are committed with this sport association. So this tell the viewers the sense of how important really this institution of the football association is for everyone in this town. And of course, we had then at the end of the match, we see really coming to life everything that everyone has told us about how important football is for the community. Now we see it. We see how people is together, how the friends meet, and everyone is part of this in the town. So I hope this gives you a kind of light on how, when you have a topic, you then go look for protagonists, and what you find the right people, then you decide what's the story you're going to tell and from which perspective. Okay, so now I told you that this exercise, this small journey of mine, was the challenge of making 4 videos, and another topic was football fans. I bet you are football fans of some team. I don't know, maybe a European team, maybe an Ukrainian team. Well, since I live in Cologne, I decided to look for the team of my city, the FC Cologne. It's a very particular team. I must say that after doing this project, I became a kind of a fan of this team. It's a very particular team because they are not the best. I mean, they are always like at the end of the table, you know, trying to go into fall into the B League. But people is very loyal. Fans are very loyal. So this is what we wanted to tell. But for us, it was not enough just to have fans. I mean, anyone can be a fan of a football team. So we wanted to grab a different element. And we found this protagonist, this guy. His name is Jörg. And Jörg, he does social work with young football fans against racism and discrimination in the football scene. Okay, so we thought this is a very important angle. Through Jörg's story, we can talk about these topics which are important for the public. That's what we thought. So this is the symbol of this team. You know, the mascot is a goat, and since we said only one protagonist is not, I mean, it's not enough, but we have just 2 minutes, so we decided to go with Jörg to the stadium and do something that journalists called Vox Pop. Vox Pop is a collection of small impressions opinions of passersby. Okay, so you go somewhere, you are with your camera, and you just ask people for an opinion about something. So we were asking what the team means for you. What do you feel when you think about your team? And we collected some very interesting reactions, which we are going to see. We're going to see the video after. And you see, it's not only men, there are many women, also kids. And this told us a story about the team and also about the culture, the fan culture. Of course, we had some contact with the ultras, you know, not direct contact, but we were there. This is the people who's making the atmosphere so vibrant in the stadium, singing and jumping and chanting. And this is very important for the morale of the team and also for the other fans that love going every weekend to the stadium just to have this feeling, you know. And then we had, of course, this important element of the social projects that Jörg does with young people, okay? This is Jörg in one of his workshops. And now I would love for you to see the video. So here it is. Enjoy.
Ich bin Jörg, ich wohne in Köln und wohne dort seit 20 Jahren, bin aber schon sehr, sehr lange auch 1. FC Köln-Fan. Die Mannschaft vom 1. FC Köln ist halt schon auch was Besonderes, einzigartig. Wenn man dann einmal der Fan ist von dem Verein, dann ist man das sein ganzes Leben lang. Das ist der Hennes, der Geißbock. Und Hennes hat mittlerweile einen Platz im Zoo in Köln und bei jedem Spiel, bei jedem Heimspiel mit dem Stadion dabei ist. Es gibt jetzt hier für Köln, glaube ich, im Verein knappe 90.000 Mitglieder. Obwohl der 1. FC Köln jetzt nicht mehr so sehr erfolgreich spielt die letzten Jahre, sind die Fans treue Seelen, stehen zu dem Verein. Egal ob 1. oder 2. Liga, man geht halt hin und schaut sich den 1. FC Köln an.
Also mein Herz schlägt für den 1. FC Köln.
Du bist meine Liebe, meine Stadt und mein Verein.
Herzblut. Ich bin im Zeichen des Geißbocks geboren. Mein Sternzeichen.
Mein Herz schlägt für den Verein.
Besonders beim FC immer.
Ist da so tief verwurzelt. Das ist halt klar. Das kriegt man ja schon als Kind in die Wiege gelegt. Und dann bleibt man dabei. Auch wenn es schlecht geht.
Ich war Bayern München-Fan und meine Frau hat mich missioniert und jetzt bin ich Köln-Fan.
Das Stadion hat 50.000 Plätze und ist auch immer ausverkauft. Wie in ganz Europa gab es in den 90er Jahren sehr viel Gewalt. In Deutschland hat man das ändern wollen, hat versucht, dagegen was zu machen, hat Fanprojekte gegründet. Das heißt, professionelle Jugendarbeit entwickelt, um mit jugendlichen Fußballfans gegen Extremismus vorzugehen, präventiv zu arbeiten, Rassismus aus den Köpfen zu bekommen. Es gibt immer noch Problembereiche, aber es ist auf einem Weg, der sich positiv gestaltet. Was ja auch Bildungsarbeit ist auch Teil davon, dass es besser wird.
This was another of the 4 videos that we did. So, as I told you, this guy was our protagonist, the Jörg, and he helped us navigate this topic of the football fans in Germany. We were talking about this particular team in Cologne. So this was kind of our angle, and we wanted to talk because you can tell, again, a million different stories about what does it mean to be a football fan, you know, but we decided to do this. And when you are selecting your topics, finding your topics. It's very important then. I did this kind of summary of tips. So I would say, first of all, try to look for an expert. You know, if you have an idea of a broad topic, this is what I put here, you know, our icon, and you want to look the protagonist because you want to tell a story, then I think it's very important to look for an expert, you see. Go talk to someone who has more information and who can guide you, who can point you in right directions, who maybe can tell you, you know, you should go there, there's this institution, or you should go talk to, I don't know. And it could be anything, you know, maybe you want to make a short story for Instagram about, I don't know, maybe you are the expert, maybe your friend is the expert. Maybe another influencer is an expert, I don't know. But it's always important to talk to someone who can discuss the idea with you and maybe provide you with different insights, okay? It's also very important, I think, when you are looking for protagonists, to look around you. Look around you in your local community, in your local setting, because, of course, projects have always challenges, and the main challenges are always time and budget, you know. So, of course, for me in Germany, it would have been very interesting to go and do something about the Bayern Munich. But the reality is that I live in Cologne, and probably get access to the Bayern Munich is not so easy as to go and look for contact with my local team, you see. So these are all aspects that you have to consider when you are preparing your storytelling. Of course, depending on how your impact is, how your topic is, you can look for the impact it generates in your local community. No? So if it's a social issue, something regarding education, maybe, I don't know, the effects of Corona in your community, maybe then you get ideas when you start to look in around you. I mean, who's most affected, in what manner. Maybe you want to pursue and show the effects of Corona for students of the first grade or of the last grade, you know, high school, I don't know. I think it's also very, very important to work in team. So I think alone storytelling is not so good, especially if you're working with video. Get your mates, get your peers, work with someone. It's very interesting when you create a team and each person has different roles. Maybe one is a producer, maybe one is the camera person, maybe the other does direction. It's interesting. So just work in team and get surrounded with people. It's nice. It's a good way to make friendships stronger. It's also very, very, very important to have a clear picture of what is going to be your output, you know, since the very beginning of the project. Once you had the idea, you have to start thinking about what you're going to do. So are you going to make a video? And if you're going to make a video, for which platform? Is it going to be a TikTok video, or is it going to be, I don't know, a video for YouTube? Because this gives you already technical details. For example, if you're going to do an Insta story or a TikTok, probably you are going to be working with a vertical video. If you're going to do something for YouTube, maybe you're working horizontally. Maybe if you do something for TikTok, you are going to have a limit of, I don't know, 15 seconds. But if you do something on YouTube, you can do half an hour video. So these are all important aspects that you should consider at the very beginning of your project. Doesn't matter what kind of project it is, okay? And also, a very important factor is the target group. Who do you want to engage? Who do you want to reach with your content? Are you going to do something for your friends? Or are you going to do something for the community? And do you want to reach, I don't know, people in other countries. It might be. So this is very important. Maybe if you want to reach people internationally, you want to do things in English, maybe, or you want to think about doing subtitles at the end. I don't know. If you're going to, if you want to engage, I don't know, just your friends, maybe you do something very relaxed, very funny. But if you're going to talk to the community, maybe older members of the community, probably you have to do something a little bit different. Yeah. So all of these are very important factors that, as I said, you have to keep thinking about and considering. Once you have this idea of what's the format, what you want to do, then you can start preparing a pitch. A pitch is like when you sell your idea and you have like 3 minutes to convince someone that your idea is the best and that you are the best person to tell this story. Okay, so something that very interesting I heard once here in Germany during my studies is that you can prepare like a grandma kitchen pitch. And what is this? This is, well, when your grandma is cooking at home in the kitchen, you start telling her about your story and you have 3 minutes and you have to convince your grandma, who knows nothing about the topic or the story you're talking about, that this is important, that this is interesting. Okay, this is important because it can help you train your skills and your abilities of storytelling. Okay, and also it can help you find in the story these universal aspects with which even a person like your grandmother can identify with. And then another aspect that I think it's very important is the communication. Communication the whole way is key. Not only when you are looking for protagonists, is what I told you, you have to talk about what you're looking for, talk to people, talk to friends, talk to family, tell them that you're doing a project about this and that, if they know someone, because that's the case. All the time, someone knows someone who knows someone, and then at the end, you get to the people you're looking for. It's also important that you ask what you need, and this is why you have to have clear. So, for example, if you are doing a 15 seconds video, it's very different than if you are doing a half-an-hour video. If you're doing a half-an-hour video, you might need to be in touch with your protagonist longer than if you're just doing something 15 seconds long. For the videos I showed you, which are 2 minutes long, we had 2 days of shooting each video, okay? And in the pre-production, we had to be 2 times in this town, just first going to meet the people, talking to them, telling about the project, if they were interested to participate in it, and then just another visit, checking the technical aspects, okay? So is there electricity? Can we leave our camera bags here? These kind of aspects are important. And also, okay, this is the place. This is how the location looks like. I could do this and this and that in this location, or I want to shoot my interviews here. So you see, it's a lot of work. For a 2 minutes video, maybe 4 days of work. Of course, if you are then working on a project, you have to consider this, and if you meet someone who could be your protagonist, you have to tell them what you need and tell them clearly what do you need from them. So I need you that you give me 2 days. Let's meet in these 2 days. I have to do this and that. Are you interested now? And also it's very important that you just listen to the stories that people have to tell, because yeah, if you're a storyteller, you want to have stories to tell. And also be very organized with your research. Everything that you talk to with people, try to systematize it and have your notes ready for when you need them. Good. Maybe now some other tips when you're working with your protagonists. So what happens? Let's see. Let's say that you have been talking to people, talking to friends and family about the topic and the story you want to tell, and you found different possibilities. So there's possibility A, possibility B, and maybe possibility C. You have to take a decision, make a decision. Who's going to be your protagonist? So important elements, according to me, are, for example, their story, how interesting it is, okay? And you have to find a balance. Sometimes there is a person with a very interesting story, but it's complicated. And how is complicated? Well, for example, this has to do with the second point. Are they likable? Are they comfortable in front of the camera? Of course, I'm telling you about video making because this is my field. Because sometimes people is not very articulated when they are talking. Maybe then they don't want at all to be in front of the camera. Also, it's another important part. Do you have easy access to the character? If the character is living next to you, well, I think it's great. Even if, because you have to put all in balance, no? Let's say that character A has a very interesting story, but she or he lives very, very far away, and it's complicated. And then you have next to you someone with a not so interesting story, but it's easier to work with. Well, then maybe you have to work with it and work on your angle. How can you make this other story more compelling? And then it's also very important to be clear if the protagonist wants something in exchange for participating in this project, you know, because it's a transaction. So you have to be clear what's their interest. Maybe for your protagonist is also just enough that their story get to be shared, and this is good. But maybe you have to be careful because sometimes, and depending what your topic is, it could be that people is trying to a little bit take advantage of you in the sense that they want to use you. I mean, they have their own agenda and they want their particular perspective to be told, and you have to fight because you are the director and you want to tell your story as you want to. Okay, so these are all kind of negotiations, but it depends. I mean, it really depends, and I don't know what kind of videos you like or you are thinking about doing. It's also very important that, depending on who the protagonist is, that you take care. I mean, for example, it could be that the protagonist is it's a kid. I mean, it's a so there are particular issues regarding the protection of the identity that you have to be careful with, and you have to ask probably experts. Okay, so it's very important, as I told you, that you have a very clear communication in the whole process. Just at the beginning, when you are telling people what you need, what you want to do, how's your project, and also what you can offer. Maybe you have to say why you're doing the video or telling the story. Is it for your own particular blog, or is it maybe a school project? Or is it maybe that you're working for a media organization? Is it maybe that your community wants to make a festival and they want to feature some stories? And I don't know, there are so many different contexts. You just have to have that clear, because you have to go in this transaction with a protagonist. A protagonist is a person with whom you're going to exchange a lot of time if you're doing a project with them and telling their story. And then, of course, it's very important to manage expectations. You know, maybe when you go to people and tell them that you're going to make a story and a publication or something, people is going to think, oh my God, I'm going to be rich the day after tomorrow. And you have to tell them, so no, this is small, this is the framework. I don't know, it's different. And this clear communication is going to help you taking good care of your contacts, growing your network, and protecting your reputation, which are gold. It's very important that you keep contacts of people. You never know when you might need again contact to people you have met in projects, and this is why it's very good to keep a good relationship. Now this has to do, for example, with what I'm going to tell you now. After the project of the 4 videos that I've been talking about, when the videos were ready, we decided not only to go online with them, which was part of the project, but also to prepare a premiere in the football museum. So we did postcards, which we sent to the whole town and all of the protagonists. We did, this is the team, my team, my company is called Leuchtfeuerfilm. We started 4 girls, and so we created like this kind of event, and it was very important for the whole community. The whole town traveled to the football museum. They were very excited to be in this museum. The museum supported us in this endeavor, and then in a big screen we showed the 4 videos that we did, and it was very interesting for the protagonists to see themselves in the screen and talk again about how important football is in their lives. So this is also something important that has to do with your relationship with the protagonists. I mean, the protagonists are not important only in the first part of the process when you are doing your story, collecting information, but it's also at the end, the retribution, you know, they help you, and now you give them in return the product that you made. So this is important. Keep it in mind. Even if if you are just doing posts in internet, in social media, maybe instead of a premiere, you want to do a thank you, a hashtag, linking someone in your bio, these kind of things. I mean, think about it. This is all part of taking care of the contacts and of growing your network. Okay, so now we keep going. We have the other way around. As you know, it's not only possible to storytelling starting from a topic, then going to the protagonists. So instead, you can also go the other way around, which means maybe you have a protagonist. Maybe you, by chance, got to meet someone who has the most incredible story, which you want to tell. But then you have to think about how are you going to frame this story in order to make it compelling for the biggest audience, which would be the world. And this is why you want to go to universal big topics, okay? So this is the other way around. Let's see my journey. So I had also many times the experience that I met someone or some persons with very interesting stories, and I thought, oh man, the world should know about this because it's so important. It's such a fresh, different perspective. Definitely we should go and do something with this. So you remember the project I just told you about. You remember Jörg, the guy who's a fan of the team of Cologne? Well, since he works with fans, he does social projects, he presented me 2 of his friends. They are Nina and Regina. Nina and Regina are 2 women. They are both blind, and they are very, very passionate fans of the same local team of my city. What I found interesting about Nina and Regina is that they live in another city called Hamburg, which is like 4 hours in train away from Cologne. And every weekend when the team plays in Cologne locally, Nina and Regina travel from Hamburg and they come to Cologne just to go to the stadium to see the matches. Now, that's not only particular about Nina and Regina. What's particular about them is that they created a fan club and they are very active in dialogues with the German Football League so that they can guarantee that in each stadium in Germany there are enough places which are barrier-free for people with blindness or with other kinds of handicaps. Okay, so I thought, okay, this is very interesting. They have a story, and it's an important story, I think. When I met Nina and Regina, first I never thought about what's a stadium visit for people who can walk, who maybe are in wheelchair, or people who's blind like them. And for me at the beginning was like, but if a person can see, why are they going to the stadium? So I thought, this is an interesting story, I would like to tell it. Okay, so now in this slide you get to see how my adventure was. No, again, my hero's journey. So this time I had a call to adventure which started from myself. It was an idea I had. This time there was no one telling me, aha, you have to create a story about this. No, I wanted to do this. I met Nina and Regina and I thought, oh, wow, how interesting, I want to tell this story. Now, it was difficult. The first test started, and they started because I needed money to do my project, because I wanted to go big with the project. I thought this story is important. Maybe a local television channel is going to be interested in it. So I'm going to look for it. And I started thinking, okay, what can be my story and what could be the angle so that it's interesting for example, a television channel to give me this opportunity of tell this story in such a platform. And I started looking, and it was difficult, let me tell you. It was difficult because, for example, the local television channel told me, yes, we have in all our programmation just one program once a week, half an hour long, about human stories, you know. And we think, yeah, to blind football fans, they could be interesting, but you have to fill 30 minutes with information. And sincerely, we had last month already a story about a blind person that is like the best lawyer in the country. So yeah, next to that, maybe 2 women that just go to the stadium every weekend is not so interesting, you know? So this is why I needed to work on an angle. How can I make my story compelling for bigger audiences? And how can I find money to do my project, to shoot in the stadium and so on? So talking to experts, again, Nina and Regina, of course, and also Jörg, they were very important. They put me in contact with persons from the German Football League. And I got to know that they support projects with fans. So great, I found money, and now I had the freedom to do a short film, 8 minutes long, about this topic. But now, I mean the topic, I needed to be something broader than Nina and Regina go each weekend to the football stadium. This is not a big enough topic. So what was it? It was, for me, I decided the topic inclusion in football. How people with disabilities have the right to take part in this big social event, which is football in the stadium. Okay, and I thought it's very interesting that Nina and Regina are very active, fighting for the rights of people with disabilities to take part in football visits, for example. Okay, so I had my protagonists, I had my topic, now I needed an angle. What's the story am I going to tell? What am I going to talk about? So I thought, this is my angle, you see here. I wanted to show the experience of a football stadium visit from the perspective of a blind person. This is what I decided to do, and this is what I would like to show you now in the video that I did, which is called, in German, laut fühlen. In English, it means something like feeling loudly. So it hurts like, yeah, listening loud, but also feeling with passion. Okay, so I hope the video works. Anyway, the videos are available in internet. Maybe at the end I can send you the link. They are in Vimeo with English subtitles. Let's see if it works. I hope. And we see us again in 8 minutes.
Es ist wieder soweit. Das Lieblingstrikot wird angezogen und der FC Köln-Schal angelegt. Die leeren Sitze hier gehören zu den 50.000 Sitzplätzen im Rhein-Energiestadion. Hier spielt der FC Köln. Bei jedem Heimspiel pilgern die Fans aus allen Richtungen zum Stadion. Und sie sind sich einig, dass der FC was ganz Besonderes ist. Egal ob erste oder zweite Liga, sie sind dabei. Das Stadion füllt sich, Hennes ist am Start und es liegt Spannung in der Luft. Die 50.000 Plätze sind bei jedem Spiel ausgebucht, weil alle das Spiel sehen wollen. Wirklich alle? Wie sieht man Fußball? Mit den Ohren. Laut fühlen. Diese zwei FC-Fans, die hier mit Blindenstock und Begleitern zum Stadion laufen, sind Nina und Regina. Sie wohnen in Hamburg, aber 4 Stunden Zugfahrt durch halb Deutschland für ein Heimspiel vom FC sind gar kein Hindernis für sie. Die beiden haben 1991 den Fanclub Seehunde gegründet, einen Fußball-Fanclub für blinde und sehbehinderte Menschen. Dank ihrem Einsatz sind seit einigen Jahren alle Stadien der 1. und 2. Liga mit Blindenplätzen und Blindenreportage ausgestattet.
Durch die Arbeit mit dem Fanclub Seehunde waren wir hier von Anfang an dabei, als der FC Köln diese Plätze mit Spielreportage, mit den Kopfhörern aufgebaut hat, sich überlegt hat, wie das geht.
Dadurch hatte man irgendwo schon so eine gewisse Beziehung zu allem, was hier läuft.
Was braucht ein Fan für so einen richtig guten Stadionbesuch? Schal, Drink und Snack. Und was brauchen Nina und Regina als blinde Fans? Genau das Gleiche und noch ein bisschen mehr.
Ja, ich meine, eigentlich denke ich immer, wenn ich einen Blindenstock ausgeklappt habe, dass die allermeisten Leute doch wissen sollten, was das ist. Aber das ist nicht so.
Viele sehende Fans wissen nicht, dass es überhaupt blinde Fans im Stadion gibt oder was ihre Bedürfnisse sind.
Es geht mir nicht darum, dass ich in der Bahn einen Sitzplatz brauche, aber ich möchte einfach gerne in die Bahn rein.
Was den Stadionbesuch für die beiden möglich macht, sind ein Ticketbestellverfahren, das barrierefrei ist, eine Begleitperson und eine Blindenreportage. Im Stadion geht es voll zu. Tausende Fans drängeln sich zum Spielereignis. Dafür brauchen Nina und Regina Begleitpersonen, die sie dadurch navigieren. Heute machen das Edith und ihr Mann Martin. Die müssen dafür sorgen, dass Nina und Regina sicher zu ihren Plätzen kommen, aber auch, dass sie mit Speis und Trank versorgt werden. Dafür werden sie im Umlauf kurz alleine stehen gelassen. In dem Gewusel stehen die Menschen in langen Schlangen vor den Essensbuden. Überall brutzeln die Bratwürste, Reibekuchen werden frittiert und Brezeln angeboten. Es duftet nach Gegrillten. Senf und Ketchup fließen in Litern. Die Begleiter sind endlich mit dem frisch gezapften Bier zurück. Prost! Und ab zu den Plätzen. Im Süden vom Stadion, genannt Südkurve, befinden sich die eingefleischten FC-Fans. Im Nordosten die Gästefans. Im Westen sitzt Hennes der Geißbock und gegenüber von ihm im Osten gibt es die barrierefreien Plätze. Hier steht schon der Blindenreporter Wolfgang in den Startlöchern. Von ihm bekommen Nina und Regina einen Kopfhörer und einen Empfänger. Damit können Sie später hören, was in dem Spiel passiert.
Gucken, was es heute gibt, ne? Bitte schön. Viel Spaß.
Eigentlich würde ich sagen, wenn wir alle aufstehen, die Hymne singen, man ist mittendrin in diesem riesen Chor von Menschen, die eigentlich alle das Gleiche singen, das Gleiche tun. Das ist schon bombastisch, muss ich sagen.
Nina und Regina setzen die Kopfhörer auf und Wolfgang legt los.
Gut gemacht von Kölnern, rausgespielt und die Möglichkeit für Schnatterer den Ball lang zu machen. Weil die Heidenheimer 15, 20 Meter in der eigenen Hälfte stehen. Mería mit dem Flachpass an den 16 auf Drexler, dem springt der Ball weit ab, aber das ist Schmitz. Schmitz versucht nach innen zu ziehen. Schussversuch Schmitz ins lange Eck, sichere Beute. Der war zu sehr auf den Torwart. Da hat Müller keine Probleme, landet genau in den Armen des Schlussmanns.
Ja, aber das ist eigentlich ein erfahrener Bundesliga-Schiedsrichter, aber irgendwie pfeift der einen Mist zusammen.
Der kann ja mit zweiter Liga nicht umgehen.
Die Regeln sind gleich, glaube ich.
Naja, aber das spielerische Niveau ist ein anderes.
Wichtig ist, dass die Reporter so reportieren, dass die Zuhörer eine räumliche Vorstellung von dem Spiel kriegen.
Jetzt mit dem langen Ball nach vorne auf die linke Seite zu Girassi. Girassi mit dem Kopfball, hoch geht der in die Mitte, da ist eine Riesenlücke, da rückt Höger nicht weit genug auf. Zieht jetzt nach innen, zieht weiter nach innen und hat den Ball immer noch, zieht weiter nach innen und spielt den Ball flach an 16 auf Cordoba. Cordoba mit dem Ball am Fuß, legt raus auf Risse. Guter Pass von Cordoba. Riss hat Platz zum Flanken an den zweiten Pfosten, aber Müller ist wieder da, fängt die Flanke runter.
Was machen die denn da? Das kann doch nicht wahr sein.
Die Technik muss außerdem so gut funktionieren, dass es keine Sekunde Verzögerung gibt. Sonst verpasst man wichtige Momente.
Oh Gott, ich hab doch gesagt, er kann nicht Fußball spielen.
Im Stadion aufzuspringen und ein Tor zu feiern, das ist ja überhaupt gar nicht vergleichbar. Ich kann ja nicht vom Fernseher zu Hause ein Tor feiern. Also es ist dieses Gemeinschaftserlebnis in Verbindung mit der Stimmung im Stadion.
Und wer macht die meiste Stimmung im Stadion? Zum Beispiel die Coloniacs, die Wilde Horde oder Fantastica Colonia. Kurz gesagt, die Südkurve und die Fanclubs. Das da oben ist Cell. Er ist Vorsänger und Vorsitzender des Südkurve 1. FC Köln e.V. Der Verein setzt sich unter anderem für die Interessen der FC-Fans ein.
Toll ist natürlich eben, wenn die Südkurve Stimmung macht und sich das dann auch noch weiter im Stadion überträgt. Also wenn dann der Norden noch mitmacht und wenn es dann wirklich mal richtig gut läuft, dann auch noch die Tribünen mitmachen.
Die Stimmung ist Mitgrund dafür, dass Nina und Regina von Hamburg nach Köln pendeln. Aber nicht nur. Im Stadion zu sein ermöglicht Dialog. Denn ihr Ziel ist es ja, die Bedingungen für blinde und sehbehinderte Fans im Stadion grundsätzlich zu verbessern.
Wir wollen in Kontakt kommen, zum Beispiel mit den Ultras, mit dem Ordnungsdienst, mit der Polizei, mit der Fanabteilung, mit wirklich allen, die irgendwie mit dem Stadionbesuch in Zusammenhang stehen.
Fußball ist einfach mehr als das, was auf dem Spielfeld passiert. Die Fanfamilie ist vielfältig. Und es ist schon viel damit getan, wenn man aufmerksam ist und aufeinander achtet.
4, 3, 2, 1, hey!
Was sagen, können wir auch ein vernünftiges FC-Lied?
So much for such a great video.
Okay.
Those
Well,
tips
I
for
hope-
blind audience and stadium are so cool. Thank you for regarding such issues and sharing it to us.
With pleasure. Yes, this video was a very interesting project, and again, as you see here, just a reminder, it was through Jörg, whom we met as a protagonist for a previous project, that we got to meet Nina and Regina. And this is why we thought, this is very interesting. It's a compelling topic. It's an important social topic. Let's find a way to tell this story. And we wanted to do something for a very broad audience. So this is why we worked also with animation inside. We wanted it to be for all kinds of people, from kids to the ultras, you know. And of course, I think ultras are not so happy of being seen a fan as a unicorn. But anyway, the video was created for education environments, and now we are very happy because this video is being permanently exhibited in football and sports museum here in Cologne, and many students get to see it, so it's very interesting. It was for us important to show this perspective of the blind persons and how they need, for example, someone who accompanies them. In this case, it was this couple. They are very nice. They do this voluntarily, accompanying people with disabilities to go to the stadium. We wanted also people to know what happens in the stadium and where different people is sitting. This is why we worked also with animation for that. It was also important for us to show how this guy, the reporter, who also works voluntarily, how he narrates the match for people who cannot see it. Nina and Regina, they always sit there with their headphones and they comment like experts. Again, we try to imagine how is it for them. Of course, Nina, for example, here on the right, Nina was born blind, so she has she has no reference to what an image is. So for us, it's very difficult to know. There's no way to know what she imagines. Regina, the other, she's almost blind, but she could see at the beginning of her life. So for her is different. But in a dialogue with Nina and Regina, we decided to create this kind of animations also of how it could be that people with disabilities imagine football in their heads. It was also interesting that through this project and through Nina and Regina, we really got in touch with Stefan Schell, for example. He's really active in this south curve where all the ultras fans are, and he was explaining us that I mean, it's so interesting what happens there with fans. They support each other, and they also work against discrimination, and it's very important that they do that because, of course, it's a problem, and you need committed people to fight against those topics. It was interesting for us to show where is Shell, for example, in the context of the stadium. So as you see, it was a video done, of course, by someone who is watching football from the outside and who feels the necessity to explain what's going on in a stadium. But again, this is what you as storyteller can provide to the world, a different perspective, and it might be a very important one. This is part of our picks, how we were working with the protagonist. Shooting in the stadium was very difficult. It's a very difficult place. It's very protected. You can show the play because that's totally the rights. With the rights is impossible. We had to work with a small team, but Nina and Regina were always helping us. It was important that after the video was ready, we wanted, of course, to provide a platform to reach as much people as possible. So we wanted to do again a premiere in a museum, but then Corona started and we had to do something online. We worked together with the team and they posted the video in their website, which is amazing because of course they have so many participants. The video has a lot of views, many more than we would have reached if we had posted only in our channels. And then we decided to do an online premiere due to Corona. Again, we worked together with another institution called Kick In, who works in all kinds of social projects around football. And we did an online meeting, pretty much like this one, where Nina and Regina were also there and where we talk about inclusion in football. So this is again a very important aspect of your work. Working with your protagonist is everything that happens after the video and how you maintain the relationship and take good care of it. Okay, so now let's do the conclusions because you have seen a lot. I wanted just to remark how important is that either if you are starting from a topic and you go look for protagonists, or you have your protagonist and you have to find a way to tell your story, this is a project and there are these important aspects that I want you to keep in mind. This is what I want you to take out from this presentation. Think about what's your goal. What do you want to achieve? And it doesn't matter. It can be, I want to increase or I want to collect a lot of likes in my own Instagram account. It's fine. Or maybe you want to really talk to your community about a social issue. The important thing is that for you is clear what you want to achieve. Then the message, what do you want to say? For example, in the case of the video you just saw, for me, it was important to start a dialogue about inclusion and how maybe you're not aware that there's people that cannot see and things that for you are normal, for other people are super difficult. So this was the message. It was not only, aha, look at these two great girls and how they do what they like. It was more than that. It had a topic. Then again, it's super important that you have clear what's your target group, who are you talking to, all young people, local, national, because this again help you decide what you can do. Also, fundamental is the distribution channel. Where are you going to show what you do? In the case of a video, as I told you, it could be YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, or maybe you're just doing a post, you are working in a local newspaper. It doesn't matter. It's important that you know where you are going to show your content. That also defines sometimes which format do you want to use. There are so many formats. I mean, you can do a tutorial in the case of a video, you can do interviews, you can do animation, you can do a documentary, you can do, I don't know, a typical influencer video, do it yourself, I don't know. It's unlimited, the possibilities. But it's important that you know what you want to do. Also, take a look of your resources. How much time do you want to invest? Do you have any budget? Is someone paying you to do this, or do you have to pay all of it? And of course, friends are, again, super important. Please go do something with your friends. And then marketing. Marketing is a big word, but at the end of the day is you invest a lot of time creating a product or a content, a video, whatever, and you want people to see it. You want to reach people. So yeah, take a look about what you can do in order to promote what you're doing. It can be maybe some pics for a story in Instagram, something that accompanies, whatever you want to show. Check also the calendar. I mean, for example, if you're doing a video about global warm, how do you say, about nature, ecology, maybe it would be good to launch the video or the article the day of Earth Day, take a look at those kind of things to give a broader context to your story. And then, of course, choose your angle, super important. Be sure of why the story you want to tell from your perspective is unique and why you are the best person ever to talk about this. Why no one has told this story, why is it important? I mean, these kind of aspects. Okay, I think I'm done with my presentation. I hope you liked it. I don't know if there are questions.
Thank you so much. That was very interesting. And we've got several questions. While you were presenting all your advices, people were writing comments under our video. So the first question, how to create main character or protagonist in a video that will be sympathized by everyone?
That would be what, sorry?
As far as I understand, they are asking about how to make main character in the video, how to create him so that he was sympathized by everyone. Everyone likes this main hero.
Yeah. This is a very interesting point, and it had to do with what I told you when you have maybe different candidates for your protagonist, the likability. Sometimes sometimes you want people to identify with your character, to make it empathize with them, but maybe sometimes you want just the opposite. You want to show someone who, oh my God, you cannot at all identify, and this might help you be more critic towards an issue. However, I think the working relationship might be difficult. I think if you have a character, a protagonist that you think it's interesting and you want to portray them in such a way that the public can identify with them, I think it's important to take these glasses, and look for the topic. What's the broad topic, the universal human feeling that this protagonist in particular is transporting, is reflecting? It always helps. I mean, for example, think about Nina and Regina, these two blind women. Of course, they are fans of this team, but what makes them more compelling is that they are taking care and they want to make things better for the whole blind community in Germany. So this is something interesting. This is something that when you see it, you say, okay, I like it. I like it better than if they were just two women who are fans of a team that is not even so good, So this, I would recommend this to look for broader topics which are universal. I mean, which every person, no matter what culture they belong to, could identify with.
What is first for you? The story, the idea of the story, or the protagonist?
What's more important?
No, in your situation, what is first for you? At first you have an idea and then you're searching for the protagonist, or you at first have the protagonist and then you're writing story just for him?
This is a matter such as what was first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. I mean, it depends, and it's no right or wrong. Sometimes you get to meet first the protagonist, and then from the protagonist, you have to look for the big universal topic. And sometimes you get the topic, you get the idea, I want to do something about climate change. And then you have to start narrow down your search until you find someone, a character, a particular case that can convey these broad topics.
Okay, next question. You have chosen human rights direction, but how do you choose themes and stories for your video? How do you recognize the future popular one who sees him?
Well, this has to do with what are your interests. For me, human rights, social issues was always something very important coming from Colombia. I think, but everywhere, you know, I'm such a person that I think I can do something. And my way of doing it is, okay, storytelling, I want to do that. But I think there are interesting stories everywhere. And for example, for me, 4 years before, I would never dreamed about me doing videos about football, you know. I wasn't even a football fan, but once you get to see a topic from a different point of view and with a clear objective, with a particular goal, I think you start finding very interesting things for you. I think you can always find very important, relevant topics, even in superficial things. I mean, take, for example, I don't know, makeup or choreographies, dance. I mean, you might think this is superficial, I don't know, but once you start looking at it critically, you can really find interesting and relevant topics.
Okay, next question. How do you choose the topics? Are you analyzing the market to understand what will be successful?
This is a very important question. Thank you for it. And my own perspective about this topic has been changing with the time. So, for example, let me tell you, I studied in a film school, which was very much so artist oriented. So it was like, oh, what's your vision? You have to tell your story, you know, like from from the particular perspective of an author, like you have this kind of ideas about the world and you have to tell your story. But then I found the challenge that once my video with my own particular view was done, it was very difficult to find a public for it. It was difficult to grab attention, to engage viewers. So I think it makes a lot of sense, as I told you in my presentation, to think from the very beginning what's going to be your output and in which distribution platform do you want to place your content. I think it's very important. And the more information you have about the target group you want to reach, the best results you will have in terms of how you want to how to reach broader numbers of people. I think I've learned in the last years to think about this market analysis. What are the topics that are relevant in the moment? And of course, you can do something for that. But if you want to set topics on the agenda, sometimes you have to think about different things. I mean, you cannot just do whatever is in fashion in the moment. You have to think what's important for you and what you think critically are issues which are important for the community, and you start the dialogue about this. So you have to find the balance. And of course, if the entrepreneur in me answers the question, if you are doing a product, if you're doing something which you need to be economically sustainable, then of course you have to think about what are the topics that people is going to consume, that are going to be clicked and followed and liked, in case this means for you more revenue, for example. But if you are working from a political, social kind of perspective, then of course I would dare you to talk about topics that people is not talking about. Be the first one to start the dialogue.
Super, thank you so much for your answer. And the last question, what are your 3 main advices for young people working over their first video stories without any budget?
Well, I would say, first of all, take notes of what you like. For example, in my free time, I love to see two Canadian girls. They have a channel in YouTube, in Facebook, in every possible platform. They are called the Sorry Girls, and they do do-it-yourself projects. And I really like their style, so I started watching critically. I started thinking, how they do the videos? How long are they videos? How are they doing the videos? I mean, it's just one camera or two? How many people is involved? So just take a different and analytic look at what you like, because you have reference. Maybe you like something and you think, I would like to do something like this. So instead of just watching it, take notes, and you can use that as a guide for you to start doing something. First tip. The second would be work with your friends, start a team, because as I said, video making, content making is a team effort, and it's good when you're not alone. You shouldn't be doing all the roles. It's better when everyone has their role, and also there are more brains connected, giving ideas. And the third would be, take a really good look at what you want to do in terms of, is it a TikTok video? Is it a YouTube video? Do you want to make an interview? Do you want to make just one thing? Or you want to maybe start thinking about a series in which you are going to talk once a week about different things? And just start small, but start, because once you start, probably you are not going to stop, and you're just gonna get better and better every time.
Maria, thank you so much for your super masterclass, for your tips and hints. I hope to see you soon during our next conferences.
Okay, perfect. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much. Keep doing stuff, and there's my email there in case you want to contact me again. Feel free. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Друзі, ну а ми продовжуємо вже дуже скоро, рівно о 15:50 будемо говорити про вірусний контент.